Watch the whole video to find all the hidden anime girls. What's something you're pretty sure has only happened to you? I dated a woman in high school who left me senior year because she discovered she was gay. After college, a different woman also left me because she said she was gay. Both those women left me for the same woman. You should probably stay away from that woman. That's awesome. Not everyone gets an arch nemesis in the real world. Good luck with that battle. Sophomore year of high school, sitting in English class, all talking about our first kiss. I find out that 4 other girls had had the same first kiss as me. That guy got around. I got in an argument with multiple people on how street signs worked. Were they holograms that you could only see at a certain angle, or did they turn on when you tripped a sensor? I called a whole bunch of people stupid, right up until I got hauled to the eye doctor. I wear glasses now, and street signs have things printed on them. So, yeah, I'm the only person who thought that street signs turned on. One of my friends told someone she couldn't understand why they don't just make street signs bigger with clear, sharp fonts since you could barely see them until you got close. Turned out she also needed glasses. I'm on the cusp of being legally blind, and until I got glasses, I thought that trees had weird green goo all over them. If I saw a leaf on the ground, I thought part of the goo fell off and hardened. I feel you. Edit for clarity. Irony. I was a kid when these assumptions were made. I was walking on a beach in South Carolina. It was around September. I got struck in the chest with the casing to a large firework. Since it wasn't a time of the year you would normally set off fireworks, and I was facing the ocean, I'm not sure where it came from. However, consider the odds. A firework shell hit me dead center of the chest while facing the vast empty sea. That's like lightning striking twice. North Korean intercontinental ballistic missile. Minutes after entering a crowded club, someone poured a pitcher of beer down my back. It was cold, and I was drenched and in shock. My night was ruined. I yelled, "Duck," and reached back to feel the damage. I was completely dry. Bone dry. Just my confused friend staring back at me. I'll never forget that moment, and can't explain it to this day. I was completely sober. I think you had a stroke, dude. I watched Halley's Comet from Machu Picchu in 1986. I was the only one there who had brought a telescope. Does this count? We'll allow it. You know how sometimes from the right angle, a cliff doesn't look like a cliff? On an ATV trip I was on, the guy in the front casually drove off a cliff that didn't look like a cliff. So the guy behind him drove off too. And so did the guy behind him. I was next, and was about to do the same, and my phone rings. So I stop and answer it. The remaining guy stops behind me, annoyed. The call was from my 7-year-old cousin to ask me something about a video game I'll enter. During the call I realize, oh shit, that's a cliff. And then I realize what happened to the other advers. We called an ambulance and the ATV company, and then found a way to climb down safely and locate the bodies. Nobody died that day, but the guys who fell off were badly injured. If all 5 of us had driven off, I have no doubt we'd all be dead. So, now we know the answer to if all your friends jumped off a cliff. Locate the bodies. Nobody died that day. Phrasing. Okay, that is not a funny story at all. Quite remarkable really. However, can you imagine if someone saw the whole thing from a distance? Just 2 guys sitting on the tailgate of a truck sipping beer watching you all approach the cliff. Bill, oh man, that guy better pump the brakes pretty quick or shit, he just ran off that. Holy shit, the other guy is about to run off the cliff as well. Jim, are you seeing this? Jim, I see it. I don't duck and believe it, but I see it. Holy mother of God, that 3rd guy just jumped off. The duck is wrong with these kids. Bill, is this some sort of suicide pact? Live in New York City. Finally saw a celebrity after just buying a plunger. I'm staring at decaps across an intersection and he's never going to think twice about me until I raise my plunger at him and kinda waggle it around at him accusingly like some old crone. He gives me a what the duck face and then cracks a smile. TLDR, made decaps smile with a plunger. Sounds a lot more fun than I need your face on my phone. Just like, yeah, I know who you are. Today I learned New Yorkers call Leonardo DiCaprio decaps. Makes him sounds like the neighborhood pet. I like it. TLDR made decap smile with a plunger. Well, if that can't be read wrong. Oh, I have a great one. Time to use my real name account. It's relevant. I used to live in Calgary, Canada, where lots of movies are filmed. Many celebrities own houses outside of the city, in the mountains. I was trying to make some last minute dinner plans on the afternoon of New Year's and started calling some of the nice restaurants in town. As expected, all of them were totally full. I took a total long shot and called one of the very nicest Italian restaurants in town, and the call went like this. Hi, it's Dave Lindsay calling. I'd like to make reservations for 2 tonight for 8 PM. Bracing myself for no. Of course, I presume you'd like the private room like last week. I hadn't eaten there in a long time. UHH. Okay, sounds great. When we arrive at the restaurant and check in, the fella who greeted us at the door looks all flustered and excuses himself for a minute. He comes back with the manager, who asks to see my ID, so I give him my driver's license. That's when he explains to me that I have the same name as Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's personal bodyguard, who had made dinner reservations for them there the week earlier. They'd already blocked off a private room and prepared a private waiter for me. So we got last minute reservations at a high-end restaurant on New Year's, complete with private waiter. I felt a bit embarrassed, so I tipped a bit higher than normal. Proof. TLDR, I have the same name as Brad Pitt's bodyguard. Accidentally used it to get into a fancy restaurant. Edit. The restaurant was Bonterra on 8th Street. This was nearly a decade ago. I have no idea if it's still as great as it was. The exact dialogue over the phone is most definitely different from what I wrote above. Don't take it literally. Edit 2. I'm suddenly wondering if I should have omitted my name and which celebrity. Really hoping no idiots go bother the nice folks at that restaurant trying to use my name. Please don't be that asshole. Edit 3. Obligatory thanks for the gold. That's pretty awesome. Use that shit. My boyfriend broke up with me because he made it to the next round of the Mars 1 program. Wow. Just wow. This is like buying a lotto ticket and breaking up with someone on the assumption that it's the winning ticket. I had the gas pump price reset back to $0 in the middle of me pumping. It dropped back to $0 at $30 and I ended up only being charged $12 to fill up my tank. Someone probably paid for your pump while you were pumping. My junior prom date and senior prom date are engaged to each other. Your dancing was so bad they had to console themselves with the only other person who experienced it. Matchmaker. My high school boyfriend and my brother's high school girlfriend have a kid together. She was pregnant within 4 months of the relationship's ending. This one's pretty specific. Pardon the throwaway. I once defended myself from 4 attackers with naught but the carcass of a decomposing goat. Edit. I'll just put this here instead of commenting. So I guess first, why was there a deceased goat in the back of my truck? In the world of vertebrate anatomy, every good scientist must have a comparative collection. So grad students spend a lot of time collecting roadkills and processing them for osteological specimens. I wish it was something heavy metal or satanic, but no. A friend of mine just had a pygmy goat recently die and said I could have it, you know, for science. It moved around a few times, but was big enough, even a pygmy goat is like 40 pounds, that it was attracting scavengers digging it up. This long story short, I ended up putting it in a giant plastic tub, burying it with soil in said tub, and put the whole apparatus in the bed of my small pickup. It was back there for about 3 months. Blast forward to the relevant story. This was about 5 years ago. I'm coming out of some classes, walking across the parking lot to my truck, when a carload of frat type guys roll by, and one of them yells faggot out the window. While this word is not insulting to me, I still came back with an instinctive, duck you. I'm not a small guy. I really expected them to keep driving. Car slams on the brakes. Driver and 1 passenger get out, start heading my way. There were 2 more in the car, but I guess technically I didn't best them because they were constantly just trying to get their buddies to come back and forget about it. I wasn't at all mentally prepared for a fight, so I glanced in the back of the truck thinking I might have a stick or something, and I see the box. I knew the state of decay from a day or 2 prior. The goat was still firmly together with connective tissues, but most of the softer flesh was gone. It was at precisely this moment genius struck. Calmly, coolly, I reached under the box lid, grabbed this neck of the goat, the head was loose, casually pulled the whole thing out, and let the legs hit the ground as I held onto the neck. Both of the tough guys' demeanors went ducking flat, and they just stopped. I stood there, left arm poised, like I was going to ducking, clobber them with it, if they decided to come over. Passenger just looks over at driver, driver looks at me in disgust, maybe horror, and musters a man, shit's ducked up, and both just walk back to the other two in the car shaking their heads in disbelief. Me and Josie, the goat, got back in the truck and left. I had an overwhelming sense of pride, that day and every day since. TLDR I sent would-be attackers away by brandishing a dead goat as a weapon. Edit. Shit. Thanks for the gold. And Josie, thanks you too. Oh man, that is awesome. One time these preteens were being annoying in front of my house. They were sitting on the sidewalk right in front of my house and screamed at each other. I took one of my taxidermy deer off the wall, opened my door, and just stared at them while stroking the deer's head. They ran away, and I haven't seen them since. So satisfying. Broke my clavicle in my sleep. Just woke up, and it was broken. Made a makeshift sling out of a shirt and drove myself to the ER. Edit, since it keeps coming up. No, I don't have health issues / weak bones. At the time it happened I was a 20-year-old farmhand in incredible shape. I didn't drink or do drugs. I was being fed 3 hearty home-cooked meals a day, and when I wasn't working on the farm I was hiking or rock climbing. I mentioned it in a comment, but it got kinda buried. My bedroom at the time was a loft with a ladder. I was living in a small cottage in the woods behind the farm, and when I woke up the ladder was skewed, and some laundry that had been on the bedroom floor was down on the main floor. My best guess is that I got up for some reason, tripped on the clothes, came down hard on the top of the ladder, possibly hitting my head in the process, and crawled back into bed in shock. I broke a rib coughing when I had the flu. Maybe you were twisted wrong in your sleep and coughed and broke your clavicle. When I was 5, I was on top of a slide with a toy gun just shooting things because childhood. I saw this robin on the branch of this big maple tree, so I carefully aimed my toy pistol and pew-pewed the shit out of that robin. The robin just stared carefully at me, then calmly swooped down from the branch, flew right up to me, and pecked me hard right on the top of my skull. It hurt a bit, but I bawled because I was just so confused about what the duck just happened. I was on a rope swing as a 12-year-old child or something like that, and I was pretty chubby before I went through puberty, so a little past the halfway point on the rope swing my arms could no longer support the G-forces that were being bestowed on me. I let go and hit my friend's house and went through a practically wafer-thin part of concrete someone must have put there for aesthetic value in place of an old window. I landed straight in his living room, which was located in the basement, unharmed, with his parents staring at me in open-mouthed awe. TLDR, I Kool-Aid manned my friend's house as a prepubescent 12-year-old. Edit, I spelled stuff wrong. Edit 2, there is a first time for everything. Thanks whoever thought my comment was gold worthy. Kool-Aid manned my friend's house, I'm dying. I'll take things that I wish were caught on video for 1000. Alex. As a teenager, one night, I fell asleep on my arm, and it went totally numb. Still asleep, I roll over onto my back, and my numb hand falls into my open mouth, waking me up. Discovering a strange hand in my mouth, I panic, and using my good hand, start wrestling with myself, fighting for my life. I roll myself onto the floor in a tangle of blankets with a giant thump. The parents come rushing in, and I still have no idea what has happened, still half asleep. As I'm explaining that I've been attacked in the middle of the night in my bed by an interloper, the truth starts to dawn on me, and I begin to laugh hysterically. I couldn't really get the explanation out for quite a while. My parents thought I was having a schizophrenic breakdown, and the next day gave me a long lecture on the perils of hallucinogenic drugs. Comment what the best or worst story was. Also remember to subscribe for more Reddit and anime girls.